Hello.
Hello, very good morning. Very good morning to everybody.
1 minute. Before that, I would like to say a few words about our Professor Thanuskodi. So I am very happy to introduce my friend, Dr. Thanuskodi. I know him very well for the last 2 decades. When he was working in Annamalai University itself, I have contacts with him. And I used to move with Professor Nagarajan at the time when he was. I used to recall my green memories. Once he was admitted in hospital. At the time, I went with Dr. Nagarajan and saw him in the bed, and he was recovered. Yeah, I just recall the green memories, past olden days. And not only that, he is a very nice gentleman and approachable person, man of simplicity, and as well as a knowledgeable person. He is the member in so many committees and as well as the governing board council, etc., etc. He has written so many. I mean, all the profiles will be read by the Dr. Tilagavadi. Before that, I wish to say, and he is for my scholar, he is the external. I'm doctoral committee member. Yeah, in Mother Teresa of Men's University also. Yes, with this small introduction, I welcome him, and as well as I welcome Mr. Janardhanan, Dr. Muthumari, Dr. Sasireka for this today's function.
Sir, Janardhanan sir, enaching sir.
Enna கேக்குதுங்களா நான் பேசுறது கேக்குதா? Is it audible?
Yes.
Yes. Now over to Dr. Tilagavadi to read the profile of our Professor Thanuskodi.
Yeah, very good morning to everybody. Welcome back to the day 4 session. Today, our first guest speaker is Dr. Thanuskodi. I now call upon Dr. Thanuskodi to deliver a speech. Before that, I would like to introduce the first guest speaker. Dr. Thanuskodi is currently working as a professor and head Department of Library and Information Science, Alagappa University. He has 26 years of rich professional experience in the field of library and information science. He started his career as a librarian at Central Law College, Salem in the year 1995. He has written 29 chapters for the textbooks on library and information science, and most of the books were brought out by international publishers, and he published 120 research papers in the national and international journals. As per individual author-wise contribution, Professor S. Thanuskodi has got the first position in India based on the number of research contribution indexed in Scopus database. As per the Google Scholar citations, he has scored 170,746 citations and H index 22 and I-10 index 44. He has guided 15 PhD scholars, 27 MPhil scholars, and 37 postgraduate students in this research endeavors, and PhD research scholars are currently doing the research under his guidance. He is life member in various professional bodies. He has organized 50 national international conference, seminars, workshops funded by the UGC and Rajaram Roy Library Foundation and Information and Library Network in Flipnet. He delivered lectures and several seminars. He has obtained UGC Research Award for the period of 2016 to 18. He has got the Alagappa Excellence Award for the research during 2016 and 17, at Vallalal Alagappa Research Recognition Award at 2020 for his excellent contribution in the research. Professor S. Thanuskodi is receiving outstanding research faculty for the academic year 2017 to 18 by Careers 360, Delhi. He has also received Sally's National Best Library Information Service Teacher Award during 2017 for his outstanding contributions. He was the chief editor of Alagappa University newsletter, and also he was the chief editor of Alagappa University newsletter Alagu, and also the publication officer of Alagappa University during 2012 to 2015. Now, I call upon our first guest, Dr. Thanuskodi. Over to Dr. Thanuskodi, sir, please. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for your nice introduction, Madam Talagavadi, Madam. So that is First of all, I want to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor of Madurai Kamaraj University and Registrar of Madurai Kamaraj University, the organizing committee members, Professor K. Chinnasamy, Professor and Head Department of Library Information Science, and Professor Dr. K. Nidhyanandam, former Director of Anna University Library, and presently President of Madras Library Association. The coordinators of this program, Dr. P. Muttumari, Dr. J. Sasireka, and Mr. P. L. Janardhanan, Librarian, Madras Medical College, and Dr. S. Aravindan, Librarian, GTN Arts and Science College, and other team members of this international virtual, so that is 5-day international virtual short-term course on enlightening of LIS professionals in emerging technology. So that is, I want to thank Professor Chinnasamy and Professor Nidhyanandam for doing this wonderful international virtual short-term course. So today, I want to discuss about understanding research metrics. So that is even nowadays, you are all aware that publication indices are the assessment and evaluation methods that are widely adopted in the academic arena as they relate to NAAC performance. So that is, you are all aware that even so that is NIRF also, they are around 40% of the weightage for publication based on the research contribution of the faculty members, research scholars of the respective institution. That is, before that, you are all aware that, sir, is it visible?
Yes.
Okay,
Visible,
okay.
visible.
So that is
Visible,
okay.
visible, sir.
Thank you.
Visible. Audio and video is clear.
Okay, so that is the research metrics. Nowadays, even PhD, so that is as per UGC guidelines. For the PhD, each and every PhD students should write the one of the coursework in research ethics and research metrics. It's a compulsory paper. So that is the research metrics measures used to quantify the influence or impact of scholarly work. Some examples of this are, so that is we called as bibliometrics. So that is called as analyze and track scholarly literature. So that is, and another one area, citation analysis and altmetrics, a more recent set of alternative methods that attempt to track and analyze scholarship through
Sir, excuse me,
various.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, your slide not full screen, sir.
Okay,
Please make
okay.
it
So that is now I am. So that is giving only just introduction only. So that
no
is
problem.
okay,
Okay.
okay. So that is, and you are all aware that the development of electronic indexes, that is called as WOW Science and Scopus. So that is that we called as also called as Science Citation Index and Social Science Citation Index. So that is, they are also providing the journal citation reports. That is called as journal impact factor. So that is, and apart from that, journal metrics also, author level metrics and institutional metrics. So these are all the related to the research metrics. Okay, this is today's our agenda. That is research metrics is part of the bibliometrics, and introduction of H index and its importance, and calculation of H index in collective method of institutional approach, strategies to increase H index in collective method of institutional approach. So that is the calculation of item index and the calculation of G index, HINAM, creation of researcher ID for every faculty member, training open source software for monitoring H index, item index, and G index, and finally citation databases. That is first. I want to ask one question. Do you have academic accounts? Or so that is account in Google Scholar, account in ResearchGate, account in Web of Science, account in Scopus, account in Willingdon, account in Librarians. So these are all the important account for every so that is faculty members and research scholars. So without academic account, so without Google Scholar account, without ResearchGate account, without Web of Science account, Scopus account, Willingdon or IRINS account, so that is our visibility. So that is we cannot provide our research publications. So why I am telling that is, suppose if anybody wants to research output of the candidate X, immediately so that is they can access your Google Scholar account or ResearchGate account or Web of Science account or Scopus account, and nowadays so that is InflipNet, Information and Library Network Center, integrated. So that is one software that is called as Indian Research Information Network System, IRINS. So this software integrated with so that is faculty profile. IRINS means faculty profile, Indian Research Information Network System, that is faculty profile of the institution, every institutions. So that is, suppose if you want to see the faculty profile of the Madurai Kamaraj University, you can immediately see who are all the top contributions in the Madurai Kamaraj University. So that is that we can see only. So that is now IRINS is a very useful software to analyze the faculty profile. So that is this IRINS integrated with your Google citations, Google Scholar citations, and Web citations, Scopus, even Microsoft academic citations, and cross-refer also. So that has lot of citations they've integrated and provided one database that is called as IRINS. So that is, suppose if you don't have this account, immediately you can log in and create these accounts. So that is, it is very much essential to all the scholars and faculty members. And have you ever created ArchIT ID? So that is Google Scholar ID, ResearchGate ID, Researcher ID. So it is very simple steps. So that is, you can log in. So that is nowadays I think most of the indexed journals without ArchIT ID, they cannot accept your submission. So without ArchIT ID, so that is you cannot upload your research article in the concerned journal website. So that is you have to create the ArchIT ID, Google Scholar, ResearchGate. Very simple steps. So if time permits, I will show finally. And what is your identity? Why these IDs are needed? So what I am telling, so that is to update your advancement. So that is Madam Dalagavati told. So that is my research matrix. That is he scored this much of citations, this much of H index, and this much of item index. So that is why these IDs are needed to update your advancement, to fill your CAS credit. Nowadays, So that is, I want to tell one thing. So that is last November, December, UGC sent one circular to all the institutions without IRINS account. So that is, you cannot submit the your research proposal to the funding agencies, because so that is, this is mandatory one. So that is, they have to see so that your profile, and they will so that is analyze your previous research performance, and they will sanction based on your proposal. And so to measure our institution development, suppose so that is nowadays you are all aware that recently Madurai Kamaraj University has got A plus status, I think 3.54, so that is out of 4. So thing to measure our institution development, I think Madurai Kamaraj University reached above 100 H index in Scopus database to compare our skill with other institutions. So that is, we can compare. So that is our skill and our institution skills, along with we can compare with other university. So that is, this is the important one. And these are all the publication indices measuring growth rate of publication. So that is annual, so that is average annual growth rate and the compound annual average growth rate, and the H index, item index, G index, P index, collaboration index, and the journal impact factor. So these are all the publication indices. So that is, it includes evaluation research quality and a measurement of research inputs, outputs, and impacts. So both qualitative and quantitative methodologies, including the application of bibliometric indicators and a peer review. So it is an so that is, it will be more useful to the faculty members to increase journal publication, H index, and API scores. So that is, apart from that, the university or any institution for accreditation purposes, they can use these indices. So that is, one by one we can see. So that is, we are all aware that the bibliometrics, so that is most of the research contributions in Tamil Nadu, LIS research, almost 50% of the research contributions under the area of bibliometrics. So that is a compilation of scientometrics, altmetrics, and verbometrics. So that is, you are all aware that bibliometrics is the statistical analysis of bibliometric data. So that is, nowadays we can get the data easily. We can download the data from the Web of Science database or Scopus database. So that is, previously it is very difficult. So that is during the 1990s, it is very difficult to get to analyze the bibliometric analysis of the concerned field. But nowadays it is some so that is user friendly, amount of scientific activity in subject category. So that is, we can journal category, and we can analyze the country's output. We can analyze the output of topic and other area of interest. That is called as the country. Put the country. We can analyze the country output of the certain areas, and we can analyze the so that is university's output in the field of research, and so that is author's contribution, and so that is H index, and we can also analyze the author. So that is author contribution. How many publications the author X has published, how many articles published, and his H index, and his item index, and his G index. So these are all we can get easily. We can get and the journal. So that is nowadays UGC. So that is enforcing. So that is focusing the quality journal. So that is, you have to publish the journal in the quality journals. So that is in the quality journal. So that is, and we can get the subject-wise, so that is research output. This is another one important area, and so that is why that is called as, and another one, cost of subscription to peer-reviewed literature, fund allocation. So based on the publication indices, fund allocation, they are providing the fund. So that is, they are providing the, so suppose the institution A, suppose the A plus grade institution, they can get more funds from the UGC or DST or ICSSR. So that is increase in government funding. That is why I'm identify new areas of research. So that is, we can identify the new areas of research. Identify declining areas of research. So that is, we can analyze what are all the areas. So we have to focus the future research. So these are all the importance of publication. And so that is, there are two bibliometric indicators. One is absolute indicators and another one is relative indicators. So that is publication count. Absolute indicators means publications count, journal count, citation count. Relative indicators, we are all about the activity index, relative specialization index, and relative citation index. These are all the relative indicators. And how to measure the growth rate of publications. So that is, there are two growth rate of publications. One is average annual growth rate and another one is compound annual growth rate. So that is, how can we analyze the annual growth rate? So that is current decade total minus previous decade total divided by previous decade total into 100 divided by number of years. For example, the institution 1971 to 1980. So that is, the institution published 429 articles. 1981 to 1990, during the second decade, the institution has published 706 articles. 1991 to 2000 decade, the institution has published 1031 publications and so on. Now, so that is, suppose if you want to annual growth rate, so that is annual growth rate of 1981 to 1990 as per the formula 6.46%. So that is annual growth rate of 1991 to 2000. So that is 4.60. So annual growth rate of 2001 to 2010. So that is 3.49. So these are all the annual growth rate. So that is, and finally, so these three decades annual growth rates 4.85. So that is annual growth rate of period A plus B plus C and divided by number of periods. That is, there are 3 decades. So that is 14.55 divided by 3 decades, 4.85. So that is annual growth rate of institutions during 1970 to 2000. So that is the annual growth rate of the institution X is 4.85. So that is, this is another one is compound annual growth rate. And how to measuring impact of research publication of an institution. Indicators to measure impacts. So that is, we can measure based on the citation. We can measure the impact through citation without self-citation. Now you can see the Web of Science database. So they are segregate so how many citations you scored. So that is, for example, 725. Without self-citation, 725. With self-citation, so that is 790. So that is, and mean citation score. So that is mean citation score and a real average citation, cited rate, and the percentage of non-cited paper and relative citation ratio. These are all the indicators to measure the impact. And so that is, these are all the formulas. Cited rate, you can see the Web of Science or Scopus. And another one important is, so based on the H index, so that is H index. This is one of the important area in the research metrics. A researcher, for example, what's the meaning of H index? A researcher has an H index of X if she has at least X publications for which she has received at least X citation. That is called as H index. So we can see next slide in elaborate. So that is, for example, how to calculate the H index? Number of publications. So that is, for example, Mr. A published 9 papers. Paper 1, he got 105 citations. Paper 2, he got 89 citations. Paper 3, he got 50 citations. Paper 4, he got 20 citations. Paper 5, he got 12 citations. Paper 6, he got 10 citations. Paper 7, he got 7 citations. So as per our definition, a researcher has an H index of X if she has at least X publications for which she received at least X citations. So X publications means paper 7, at least 7 citations. So that is the H index of X is 7. And the citation impact, average citations. So that is, there are 2 persons, Dr. David and Dr. Xavier. Dr. David has published 10 papers, 10 documents. Dr. Xavier also published 10 documents. So that is, for example, Dr. David, so that is total citations 60. But his H index is also 6. But Dr. Xavier also published 10 documents. He got also 60 citations and his H index is 2 because so that is as per our formula. So that is earlier formula. So that is document 1, 10 citation, 9 citation, 8, 8, 8, 6 and 5. So that is as per our at least X publications for which he received at least X citations. So that gradually Dr. David has got 60 citations from the 10 documents, that is 10 articles. But Dr. Xavier got 60 citations, only 2 papers. So that is paper 1, 58 citations and paper 2, 2 citations. So that is called as, somebody is asking, sir, for the best researcher. So that is, we can get more citations. So that is, we can get gradual citations. Then only that is the citation impact. And I want to tell about techniques to improve your H score. Identify the journals in 2 citations there. So you have to publish the journals. So at least the journal should be indexed in 2 citation database. Nowadays, last of whether Google Scholar or Web Science or Scopus or Crossref or Indian Citation Index. So that is a lot of citation indexes. Whether your journal, so that is, you have to identify the journals in 2 citations and more references from the same journal. Some people say, so that is people. So you have to quote more references. So that is you want to. So that is if the so that is what I am telling. Short that is abstract or so that is review article, you need not worry about the citation and your research. So that is, you have to suppose if the candidate, one of the candidate has published the paper in Emerald Journal, see he so that is, see quoted around 70 references. So that is, you can get more impact. And self-citations. So that is, you can use the self-citations also. So that is without, so that is self-citations also counting. So that is counted by the database. And write articles with experts. So that is what I am telling. So that is, you collaborate with 2-3 persons. So that is that 2-3 persons can get more. For example, one article published by so that is Dr. Muthumari. So he got 10 citations only. Suppose that article, so that is collaborate with the other 2-3 persons. So for example, Dr. Muthumari also got 10 citations, and another person also got 10 citations, and some other persons also got 10 citations. So that is write articles with the experts. So that is you can get more citations, and write your name properly in your article. So some people are telling that, sir, my article is indexed in so that is Scopus, but my name is not reflected. So that is you have to. So that is why I'm telling you have to create the archive ID, and you can that archive ID. So that is a link with your so that is RINS or Google Scholar or Scopus or Web of Science. Follow the guidelines of the journal. So that is you have to follow the guidelines of the journal. Then only so that is the article. So that is you don't. So that is simply so that is you have to read the journal guidelines. Then only you have to submit your article. See that all your published papers available online. So that is this is the important one. So that is whether the published papers is available in online. So that is you check. Suppose it is not available, you can upload manually. Before you send the paper to the journal, check for plagiarism and like. So these are all the techniques to improve your H score. So identify the journal in 2 citation databases, more references from the same journal. So that is you can use the self citations, write articles with the experts, write your name properly in your article. Follow the guidelines of the journal. See that all your published papers are available in online. Before you send the paper to the journal, check for plagiarism and language. And another one is item index. So that is, and the item index is the newest in the line of the journal metrics and was introduced by Google Scholar in the year 2011. It is a simple and straightforward indexing method found by tallying a journal's total number of published. So that is a publication. For example, Mr. X has published 10 articles. So that is Article 1, 20 citations, Article 2, 18 citations, Article 3, 16 citations, 4, 12 citations, 5, 10 citations. So that is how many papers? So at least 10 citations. So that is in the Mr. X. So that is he published 10 papers, but only 5 papers has got 10 citations, each 10 citations. So that is called as item index is in this Mr. X item index is 5. So that is the same thing. Paper 6. So that is item index is the so that is number of citations received highest to lowest. And another one thing, G index. Leo Age proposed G index during 2006. So that is the position where the square of the rank position is equal to the accumulated number of citations corresponds to the G index. So the scientist has index G if G is the largest integer such that his or her top G papers received together at least G squared citations. So that is the next slide you can see. So that is as published, for example, the candidate X H index is 41, but G index. So already I told. So that is the position where the square of the rank position is equal to the accumulated number of citations corresponds to the G indexes. So the square rank of, so that is 660 squared, so that is 360. So that is the G index of that candidate is 60. And another one candidate, suppose one committee members, I was the member in the one, so that is screening committee. So that is one faculty has published, so that is 140 publications, but he got 446 total citations. And the another person, another faculty, so the second faculty has published 37 publications and he got 439 citations. So that is, in that case, so that is the performance index. So based on that, the publications is very less, but he got more citations based on the worth of the publications. So that is, for example, formula C squared divided by P. C squared means citations. So that is faculty data year 2018. So C squared divided by B, power of 1 by 3. So C squared, so the total citation 439 in squared. So that is 1,97,92,721. P is equal to number of records 37. So that is by divided by 37, 5 to 0.68, which should be converted to the power of 1 by 3. So that is 17.3. So the Mr. X performance index is 17.3. So that is the performance index based on the faculty publications performance index. And measuring collaboration. So collaboration is very, very important one. So collaboration index, for example, so collaboration index, share of collaborated papers by an institution in its total publications output, divided by share of total collaborated papers by the country in its total publications output. So that is the collaboration index of the country. And the international, simultaneously we can also calculate the international collaboration index and also, and journal citation report. So JCR, suppose nowadays they are asking JCR. So that is impact factor. So that is we called as JCR can be assessed online via the Web of Science platform only. The impact factor is calculated annually by the Institute of Scientific Information, ISI. So that is JCR can be assessed online via Web of Science database. And SJR, so that is can be analyzed the publication indexed in Scopus, SJR. So that is now you are, I think you are clear. JCR means, so that is analyze the publication index, so that is assess the online JCR, journal citation report, and Simoga journal and country rank, SJR indexed in the Scopus database. So nowadays, what are the quartiles? So that is in SJR, in Scopus, there are 4 quartiles. Quartile 1 is occupied by the top 25 of journals. So that is quartile 2 is occupied by the journals in the top 25 to 50. Quartile 3 is occupied by journals in the 50 to 75 group. Quartile 4 is occupied in the 75 to 100 group. So that is grouping. So that is, suppose one article, you publish one article in the quartile 1 journal. So that is, you can get more impact factor. So simultaneously the Q2, so that is some less impact factor. Q3 is also the next impact factor. Then Q4 is the, so that is some minimum impact factor. So these are all the, what are the quartiles. Based on this, quartiles, so that is JCR and SJR based on the impact of the journal. So that suppose if you want to publish one Q1 journal, so that is your article, so that is quality article. Journal impact factor reflects, so that is even the journal quartile 3 and quartile 4. Which are the differences between JCR and SJR? Already I told JCR tool which is assessed through Web of Science. So that is assessed through Scopus database. The impact factor values provided by the JCR fixed and non-variable, but in the SJR are all variable. But in the JCR, the citation period covers only 2 years, but in SJR, as per the Scopus, the citation periods covers 3 years. Suppose the site score, so that is, these are all the site score. So based on the even your site score, based on the documents from 3 years, site score for 2015 counts the citation received in the 2015 to documents published in the year 2012, 13 or 14. So that is, you can, the journal SJR value is 0.235. The site score value is 2.3. The SNP value is 0.325. Journal of Nanoscience and Technology. The SIMOCA journal ranking. So that is, these are all the important. And this is the source normalized papers in the subject field. Based on your subject field, that is called the SNP value. And another one important is journal immediacy index. So that is we can so that is cites in the 2019 to articles published in 2019. So that is, for example, DECIDOC, Defense Journal of Library and Information Technology. So that is so that DJLIT bi-monthly. So that is 6 issues per year. So that is 2,433. For example, 2019 citations, 2,430. Number of articles published in 2019, so 360 says. So calculation, cites to current articles divided by number of current articles. So 6.42 journal immediacy index. So this journal immediacy index, we can calculate only the more frequency journals. So that is, suppose for example, one journal published in 2 issues, one issue published in August and another issue published in next year February. So that is, we cannot get more journal immediacy index. So that is journal immediacy index in the current articles. So that the current citations, that we called as. So that is, suppose if the current science published more issues per year, so that is, we can get more journal immediacy index. And another one is, so that is already told, we are all aware that a simple formula, impact factor, the total number of citations received in the previous 2 years divided by the total number of articles published in those previous 2 years. For example, a total cites in the for calculation of journal impact factor, a total cites in the 2020. So 2020 cites to articles published in the 2018 and 19. This is a subset of A. Number of articles published in 2018 and article. So D is equal to B by C. So that is impact factor. So that is 2020. So that is 630 2000. We need the impact factor of the 2020. The article published in 2018 and 19. So totally 632 citations received in the 2020 and 671 plus 4 publications. So 0.428, the concerned journal impact factor is 0.428. So, okay. So these are all the metrics. Professor, is there? Professor Nityanandam, sir? Oh, sir.
Sir, you have completed your
Yeah, no.
presentation?
So that is just another 10 minutes is that.
Okay.
So that is again in the art sheet is open research and contributor ID. It is also the another one important. So that is one. So that is create an art sheet ID to increase the discoverability of your work as a researcher. So that is you want to ensure your work is discoverable and connected, and you have to minimize the time to spend repetitive data and eliminate the name ambiguity, distinguishing you from other researchers and ensuring proper attribution. So that is the important one. So I want to this architis is an important one. Benefits of what I am telling. 10 things you need to know about ArtSheet. ArtSheet protects your unique scholarly identity. So creating an ArtSheet identifier takes only 32 seconds. ArtSheet is getting big fast. ArtSheet lasts longer than your email address, just like your. So that is suppose if anybody hereafter you need not tell you need not provide your all the papers. You provide your CV, you provide your ArtSheet ID. It's only enough. So they if the funding agency or they can assess your publications through ArtSheet ID. So you control who views your ArtSheet information. ArtSheet is blue for all your research services. Journals, funders, institutions are moving to ArtSheet. So already I told without ArtSheet ID, you cannot publish the article in the reputed journal. When everyone has an ArtSheet identifier, scholarship gets better. ArtSheet is open source, open data, and community driven. So that is so that I think all are using ArtSheet created ArtSheet ID and Google Scholar. This is another one is the very simple Google. Those who have not Google Scholar ID, you can create immediately. So that is you can create immediately. So that is your Google Scholar, and click the Scholar under the Scholar products. We can find this screen. So that is why I am telling you are all there. So that is Albert Einstein. He died, but still he is living with his publications. So that is his H index is 113. His citation is more than lakhs. So that is this is you can get, and the ResearchGate ID. It is also very simple. So that is ResearchGate. So that is it is one of the get status and find out who's being. So that is your ResearchGate and researcher ID. Find the right job using your ResearchGate account. What is researcher ID? Above Science researcher ID is now on Bubloons. So Bubloons is the new environment where you can benefit from the improved Above Science researcher ID and your publications, track your citations, and manage your Above Science record. Log in with your usual details to see your researcher ID profile on Bubloons. So that is steps to researcher ID. So that is this is my researcher ID. That is 80 publications. So that is these are all the my researcher ID. That is Web of Science ID, and so that is number of publications, and so that is Scopus ID. This another one important one. So this is the we can get the screenshot of institution profile. That is Madurai Kamaraj University as per the Scopus index as of now. So that is the Madurai Kamaraj University published 6,586 publications in the Scopus indexed journals they have published. And another one is Vidwan. This is already I told. Vidwan is another one. So that is around 60, around 1 lakh experts, around 7,000 organizations, and are more than, so that is 10 lakh citations is there. So this is my Web of Science, Vidwan profile. And another one is, so that is last, already I told last month, so that is last year, November, December, UGC sent one circular to all the higher education institutions. So that is without IRINS, you cannot apply for the publication. So that is, these are all the, and Microsoft academic publications, and then the publish of Paris. So that is, these are all the why rank institutes serve as a guide to. So that is, these are all the world ranking university. What I am telling, so that is that are ranking agency. Okay, these are all the parameters. Now the university, so that is even. So that is Bharidasan University or Bharadiyar University, Madurai Kamaraj University or Chennai University or Annamalai University, Madras University or Annamalai University. So that is based on their asking we are a NIRF ranking. So that is this NIRF based on the teaching and learning resources, TLR. So that is out of 100, so that is ranking weightage for 30% for teaching learning. And the second one is, so that is research and professional research, so 30% weightage for the research. And third one is graduation outcome is 20, and outreach activities are 10, and the perception is 10. So that is, so I want to tell, so most of the, that is called as weightage for research and teaching learning, then only your institution can get more ranking. So that is top ranking. So these are all the NIRF ranking. So that is now let's sum up my. So that is we saw the H index and I-10 index and the G index techniques to improve journal and journal impact factor, academic account creation, researcher ID, archive ID creation. So thank you for your patience listening. Thank you, Professor. Is there any doubts?
Yes, sir. Some of the participants asked some questions.
Yes, please start.
Sir,
Just,
one candidate asking a question.
Yes.
Veni Nila, she asked the question is, again she need explanation about H index, sir.
Okay.
H index.
Okay. So that is it. Then another. Okay, 1 minute.
Major difference.
So that is the H index was so that is introduced to 5, not a library science faculty, physicist J. Hirsch introduced in the year 2005. He told a researcher has an H index of X. So that is, for example, 7. If, for example, the X means the H index of 7, if he or she has at least 7 publications for which he or she received at least 7 citations. So that is this slide shows. So that is the person A. Paper 1, he published 9 papers. Paper 1, he got 105 citations. And paper 2, he got 89 citations. Paper 3, he got 50 citations. Paper 4, he got 20 citations. Paper 5, 12. Paper 6, 10. Paper 7, 7 citations. So as per the, so that is, if the candidate has at least X publications, that is 7 publications for which he has received 7 citations. So that is the H index of A7. இன்னும் உங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் தெளிவா சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா, நீங்க 10 பேப்பர் பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணியிருக்கிறீங்க அப்படின்னா, டாப் ரேங்க்ல இருந்து நீங்க கொண்டு வாங்க. பேப்பர் 1ல எத்தனை சைட்டேஷன், பேப்பர் 2, பேப்பர் 3, எந்த பேப்பர் வந்து ஈக்குவல் சைட்டேஷன், அட்லீஸ்ட் ஈக்குவல் சைட்டேஷன் வருதோ அதுதான் உங்களுடைய H இண்டெக்ஸ். Is there any doubt?
Sir, thank you so much. You are very well explained and very clear.
Okay.
So one more question, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
G index, or what is the major difference between the H index and G index, sir?
So G index means, so that is the G index means, so that is for example rank position. So this is entirely different. So that is rank position is equal to the number of citations, square of the number of citations. For example, if for example one candidate he got 60 citations, 60 H index, so you need not worry about H index, but he got, so that is on the ranking, so that is we called as I want to show the, சார் இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா டோட்டல் சைட்டேஷன் 41 சைட்டேஷன் அவர் எடுத்திருக்கிறாரு. பட் அவருடைய டோட்டல் சைட்டேஷனை பாருங்க, அதாவது ஸோ தட் இஸ் குமுலேட்டிவ் டோட்டல் சைட்டேஷன்ஸ் ஆர் ரேங்க் ஸ்குவாடு. ஆர் ஸ்குவாட் சைட்டேஷன்ல வந்து எந்த இடத்துல வந்து ஆர் ஸ்குவாடு வருதோ அதுதான் அவருடைய ஜி இண்டெக்ஸ். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் 60 ஆறு, ஸோ தட் இஸ் 60 இன்ட்டு 60 3600. So this is the எந்த இடத்துல வந்து அவருடைய ரேங்க் ஸ்குவாட், நீங்க எக்ஸல் சீட்ல இதை நீங்க குமுலேட்டிவ் டோட்டல் சைட்டேஷன்ஸ் நீங்க போட்டு பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, so that is you can get this citations H index. So that is this, sorry, G index. So that is in it is இன்னும் நல்லா கிளியரா நீங்க பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னா பப்ளிஷ் ஆஃப் பெரிஸ்ங்கிற சாஃப்ட்வேரை நீங்க எடுத்தீங்கன்னா யூ கேன் கெட் more so that is clarity. Publish of Berisla தான் இந்த G index போடுவாங்க. So that is I10 index and G index and HI norm அப்படிங்கிறத வந்து பப்ளிஷ் ஆஃப் பெரிஸ்ங்கிற ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் இருக்குது. அதை டவுன்லோட் பண்ணி வச்சு அதுல உங்க நேம் பண்ணீங்கன்னா உங்களுடைய கூகுள் ஸ்காலர் எல்லாத்தையுமே இன்டகிரேட் பண்ணி தட் பப்ளிஷ் ஆஃப் பெரிஸ் எல்லாத்தையும் காட்டி. ஓகே. Any question? Okay.
So one more question from the Archana. Can I cite the sources found from Google Scholar in my work? Which website sources can be said to be authenticated one?
Sir, pardon, please.
Can I cite the sources found from Google Scholar in my work? Which websites sources can be said to be authenticated one?
So that is Google Scholar. So that is already I have shown. So that is 1 minute. So this is the authenticated one. So that is Google Scholar. How to create the? So that is, this is Google Scholar. First, you can create your Scholar ID, and so that is get started with Google Scholar citations, and so that is we select either options. So that is, these are all the first you have to suppose if your article is not in Google Scholar, so you need not worry about whether I want to, I need that candidate is Google Scholar ID. Then only we can, so that is search whether, suppose even Google Scholar also, if the candidate A, so that is has published only 10 papers only. But in that Google Scholar ID, some more papers, only 15 or 20 papers are there. So that is another 10 papers. It is not his or her papers. And that situation, you have to delete that whichever paper is not applicable to you. So that is you have to delete. So that is another one thing. Already I told the name ambiguity is very, very important. And apart from that, first you have to create your archit ID, and there is no ambiguity. So that is what I am telling. No name ambiguity problem. So that is the one thing. If you want to any further clarifications, please send your Google Scholar ID to my email ID. I will check and then I will tell you. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Any more questions from your side?
No, madam. That's all. That's all.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Very clear and very explained presentation. Definitely the library professionals will get benefited. And the H index and how to calculate the impact factor. Adala romba interesting ah irundhudu. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Shall we move on to the second speaker, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good morning, madam. Very good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Now we move on to the next speaker, Dr. Padma. Dr. Padma, she is currently working as an assistant.
Madam, good morning.
Muthumari, it is not audible.
Madam, கேக்குது madam. Yes, please.
Hello, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Madam, Tilagodi madam, you can proceed.
சொல்லுங்க sir. Yeah, Dr. Padma is currently working as an assistant professor in Madurai Kamaraj University, and she guiding 4 PhD scholars and 16 MPhil scholars and have been awarded. Served as a PhD doctoral committee member, and she is a member of various professional bodies like SALIS, MALA, and ALA. We call upon Dr. Padma. Over to Dr. Padma, madam, please. Madam, welcome.
And also, I would like to thank the organizing committee members, organizing secretary, Dr. Chinnaswamy sir, professor and head and program director, Dr. Nityanandam sir, former director, Anna University Library, president of Madras Library Association, technical coordinator, Jonathan sir, and coordinators, Dr. Muthumari, Dr. Sasireka, and Aravind, for giving this opportunity to share my thought on the topic of public ethics.
Padma, madam. Slide
Yes,
is now. You can proceed, madam.
Yes, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
We are sharing your slide. No problem. You can go through, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, publication is the final. My topic is publication ethics. There is some noise, sir. Hello. Publication is the final stage of research and therefore a responsibility for all researchers. Scholarly publications are expected to provide a detailed and permanent record of research. Because, hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Go. We are audible, madam.
Okay, sir. Because publication forms the basis for both new research and application of findings, and they cannot not only affect research community but also indirectly a society at large. Research have the responsibility to ensure that the publications are honest, clear, accurate, complete, balanced, and should avoid the misleading, selective, ambiguous reporting. So each and every research have the RRR or RRP. RRR means responsible research reporting or responsible research publication. What is responsible research reporting mean? Based on the core principle, it is formulated by the COPE. COPE means Committee on Publication Ethics. It is the international body committee committed to promote the publication ethics standards for all authors, publishers, editors, journals, reviewers, etc. Each and every publisher have their own ethical standard. Example: Springer, Edinburgh University Press, Wiley, Elsewhere. The first publication ethic is sound and reliability. Research being reported should have been conducted in ethical and responsible manner and should be always follow the relevant legislation. The research being reported should be sound and carefully executed. Researchers should use appropriate methods of data analysis and display. If you want any clarification or mathematical tools or techniques, we can seek or we can need any specialist for the advice for the method of data analysis. Authors should have the collective responsibility for their work and the content of their publication. When the author publishes the article, he or she, every time he checks the publication carefully at all stages to ensure the methods and findings are reported accurately. And also carefully check the calculation, data presentation, typescript, submission, and proof, etc. Next, publication ethics is the honesty. Research should provide the result honestly without fabrication, falsification, or inappropriate data manipulation. Research images should not be modified in a misleading way. Images means micrographs, X-ray pictures, electropoles, gels, etc. Researchers should strive to describe their method and to present their findings clearly and unambiguously. Research should follow all the reporting guidelines for publishing the article. The publication should provide sufficient detail to permit the experiment to be repeated by other authors. Reports of the research should be complete every time. They should not omit inconvenient, inconsistent, or inapplicable findings or result. They do not support the authors or sponsors by hypothesis and interpretation. Research funders and sponsors should not be able to veto publication of the findings, and they do not favor their product and position. Researchers should not enter any agreement that permit the research sponsor to veto or control the publication of the findings. Authors should alert the editor promptly if they discover any error in any submitted, accepted, or published work. Authors should cooperate always with the editors in issuing correction or retraction when required. Authors should represent the work of others accurately in citation and quotation. If you want to refer any article, we should immediately put the citation and quotations. Authors should not copy references from other publication if they do not have read the cited work. We do not copy the other publication references. If you refer all the publication, we should read all the cited works. Next one is the balance. Next important public ethics is balance. New findings should be represented in the context of the previous research. The work of others should be fairly represented. Scholarly reviews and synthesis of existing research should be complete, balanced, and should include finding regardless of whether they support the hypothesis or interpretation being proposed. Study limitation should be addressed in the publication. If you give the study limitation, the article should be honesty and transparency. So the study limitation is very important for the publishing of any article. Originality. Next, publication ethic is originality. Originality is one of the most important criteria for the successful research. Originality includes the research as well as the writing of articles. Authors should adhere to publication requirement that submitted work is original and has not been published anywhere in any language. It should be published in one publication, and if you publish in one language, that article is not published in more than one other languages. Work should not be stimulated concurrently to more than one publication unless the editor have agreed to co-publication. If the articles are co-published, this fact should be made clear to the readers. Applicable copyright law and convention should be followed by the publication ethics. Copyright materials, for example, we copy the tables, figures, extensive quotation should be reproduced only with the appropriate permission and acknowledgement. You get permission and we copy all the tables and figures from any other article, we should be acknowledged the matter. Next, relevant previous work of publication, both by the other researchers and authors' own, should be properly acknowledged and referenced. The primary literature should be cited wherever possible. Data, text, figures, and ideas originated by other researchers should be properly acknowledged and should not be presented of their own author's own. You should be copy the data or figure or idea from other publication. It should be acknowledged. It is not presented in your own articles. Original wording taken directly from the publication by other researchers should appear in quotation marks and appropriate citation. If you taken the words from the other publication, it should be mentioned in the quotation mark with the appropriate citation. Authors should inform editors if finding has been published previously or if multiple copies or multiple analysis of a single data set are under consideration for the publication elsewhere. Authors should provide copies of related publication or work submitted to the other journals. Multiple publication arising with a single research project should be clearly identified, as such the primary publication should be referred. Translation, adaptation for different audience should be clearly identified, as such should acknowledge the original source and should respect relevant copyright convention and permission requirement. The next important publication in this is to be transparency. All sources of the funding, what are the funding sources, what are the financial support you needed, it should be mentioned in the publication. It should be transferred to all the publications. All sources of research funding, including direct and indirect financial support, supply the equipment or material and other support, it should be disclosed. Authors should disclose the role of research funders or sponsors in research design, execution, analysis, interpretation, and reporting. Authors should disclose the relevant financial and non-relevant interests and relationships that might be considered likely to affect the interpretation of their finding, or which others, editors, reviewers, readers, or might reasonably wish to know. Appropriate authorship and acknowledgement. The authorship role is very important for the publication of the article or publication of any project. The authorship of research publication should accurately reflect individual contribution to the work and its reporting. In cases where major contribution are listed as the authors, if the publication have more than one author, the major contribution are listed as the authors. Those who made the less substantial or purely technical contribution to the research or to the publication are listed in the acknowledgement list. The criteria for authorship and acknowledgement should be agreed to start of the project. Any criteria for the authorship of the correspondent authors is their substantial contribution to the conception and design of the work, or acquisition, analysis and interpretation of data for the work, the data drafting of work, or revising it critically, it is important for the intelligent work. These are the skills they needed for the criteria for the authorship. Appropriate authorship and acknowledgement. Researchers should ensure that only those individuals who meet authorship criteria are rewarded with authorship, and that deserving authors are omitted. Those who have the authorship criteria, they are eligible for the authorship eligibility. Other names also be omitted. Only the deserving authors should be included. Institution or journal editors should prevent gift and ghost authorship. There are in the institution or journal editors should be omit all the three type of authorship. The guest authorship means they meet the accepted authorship criteria, but they are listed because they are the seniority and reputation. And gift authors they do not meet the accepted authorship criteria, but they are listed as a personal favor or in return of the payment. Ghost authorship are those who meet the authorship criteria, but they are not listed. That means the professional writer. Ghost author means that is the professional writer whose contribution to produce a paper will be excluded the final publication. All authors should have the listed and should appropriate the submitted and accepted version of the publication. Any changes to the author list should be approved by all authors, including any who have been removed from the list. The corresponding author contact between the editor and other authors and should keep co-author informed all the major decisions about the publication. That means responding to the review comments. When we get from the comments from the reviewers, the contact between the corresponding authors and the other co-authors will be contact between all the editors. Authors should not use acknowledgement misleading to impel their contribution or endorsement by individuals who have not in fact been involved with the work or given the endorsement. Accountability and responsibilities are another publication ethics. All authors should be read and familiar with the reputed work. When your work is submitted, all the authors should be read and familiar with the work we have published. In most cases, author will be expected to take joint responsibility for the integrity of the research and its report. All the authors should take the responsibility of the research reporting. However, if authors take responsibility only for certain aspect of the research and it is reporting, this should be specified in the publication. Authors should work with the editor or publisher to correct the work promptly if the errors or omissions should be discovered after the publication. Authors should abide by relevant convention, recruitment, and regulation to make materials, reasons, software, or dataset available to others researchers who request them. Researchers, institutions, and funders should have clear policy for handling such request. Author must follow all relevant journal standards. Each and every journals they have the standards. So authors should follow all the standards for follow the publication ethics. While proper acknowledgement is expected, researchers should demand authorship as a condition for sharing materials. Authors should respond appropriately to post-publication comments and published correspondent. They should attempt to answer correspondent questions and supply clarification and additional details where needed. Adherence to peer review and publication convention is another publication ethics. Authors should follow publishers' requirement. The work is not submitted to more than one publication for a consultation at the same time. Authors should inform the editor if they withdraw the work from the review or choose not to respond to the reviewer comments after receiving the conditional aspect. Authors should respond to the reviewer's comments in a professional and timely manner. Adherence to the peer review or publication convention. Authors should respect publishers' request for press embargo and should not generally allow their findings to be reported in the press if they have been accepted for the publication. The authors should not report to the findings to the press. Authors and their institutions should liaise and cooperate with the publishers to coordinate media activity. That means press release or press conference around the publication. Press releases should accurately reflect the work and should not include the statement that go for the research findings. Responsible reporting of research involving human and animals. Appropriate approval. You get the approval for the publication of articles. Appropriate approval, licensing or registration should be obtained before the research begin, and details should be provided in the report. All the information should be provided in the report. That means institutional review board, research ethics committee approval, national licensing authority for the use of animals. If requested by editors, authors should supply evidence that the report research revised the appropriate approval and was carried out ethically. Researchers should not generally publish or share identifiable individual data collected in the course of research without specific content from the individual. Researchers should not remember that many scholarly journals are now freely available on the internet and should therefore be mindful of the risk causing danger or upset of the unintended readers. If appropriate statistical analysis should be determined at the start of the study, and data analysis plan for the pre-specified outcomes should be prepared and followed. Secondary and post-hoc analysis should be distinguished from the primary analysis and those set up the out of data analysis plan. Researchers should publish all meaningful research results that might contribute the understanding. In particular, there is an ethical responsibility to publish the findings of all experiments. That means clinical trials. The publication of unsuccessful studies or experiments that reject the hypothesis may help prevent others from wasting time and resources on similar project. If findings from smaller studies and those fail to reach statistical significant result can be combined to produce more useful information. Authors should supply research protocols to journal editors if requested, so that the review and editor can compare the research report to the protocol to check that it was carried out a plan and no relevant details can be omitted. Sign of a copyright agreement. If the article can be accepted for publication, each and every author should be signed the copyright agreement form that the article is the original work and has not been previously published and is currently under the consideration of another publication. And also a single study is not split into several parts, increase the quantity of submission and submitted to the various journal or to one journal to another. That is the Solmi publication, that is the duplication publication. And personal criticism, never include the personal criticism in writing the piece of the work. Report to the editor any change, make the manuscript after the acceptance. And if you follow all the publication ethics, you will get the more credibility and get the more high impact factor for the publication of any project or any article in the journals or any others. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Hello, Mari.
Yes, madam, please.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Thank you, madam.
Follow the following publication ethics. We will get the more creditable and the reputation among all the other students, and also we will get the high impact factors. So we follow all the seven criteria for the publication ethics. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. First, initially, let me have some technical issues. After that, ரொம்ப நல்லா போச்சு செஷன், ரொம்ப கிளியரா போச்சு. உங்களோட பிரசன்டேஷன்லாம் ரொம்ப புரிஞ்சதுன்னு நிறைய சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல வியூவர்ஸ் அமைச்சிருக்காங்க. பிரசன்டேஷன் வெல் கிளியர்ட் அப்படின்னு போட்டிருக்காங்க. தேங்க்யூ. எனி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் சார்? உங்க சைட்ல இருந்து ஏதாவது கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கா? எனி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ்? Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for doing this.
Okay, shall we move on to the next session? Sir, shall we move on to the next session?
Yes, ma'am. Sasireka
Okay.
is ready online.
Okay. Welcome. Today's the next guest speaker is Dr. Sasireka. She is a very well known to me, very kind-hearted person, helping-minded person, a nice person. Welcome, Dr. Sasireka. Let me introduce about Dr. Sasireka. Please be on the line. Here's very warm welcome, Dr. Sasireka. She is working as a college librarian at Lady Willingdon Institute of Advanced Study in Education. She qualified NET in 2005 and she's PhD in Library and Information Science at Anna University in Chennai 2012. And she guided 2 candidates completed PhD in a Library and Information Science. She published 14 articles in national and international peer-reviewed journals and published 35 articles in national and international conferences and seminars, and she contributed 5 book chapters in edited books. Awards received: she received the Best Librarian Award from Madras Library Association in the year 2017, and she also received the Best Young Librarian Award from Madras Library Association in the year 2019. Congratulations. And she received the financial assistance from Tamil Nadu Higher Education Council for conducting workshop in the year 2019, and she was a board of study member in University of Madras and member of doctoral committee for many universities. Acted as a subject expert for LIS distance education classes in University of Madras and Tamil Nadu Open University. She acted as a resource person for webinars in many universities. Welcome, madam. Welcome, Dr. Sasireka. Over to Dr. Sasireka.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Tilakodi, ma'am. Thank you for your wonderful welcome address. First of all, I thank our organizers, Madurai Kamaraj University and Madras Library Association for giving me this great opportunity. My PPT is showing, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Yes,
Visible.
it's visible. Continue, madam.
Thank you. My topic is embedded librarianship. This is the new role for today's digital era. In this presentation, we are going to discuss about what is embedded librarianship, shift from traditional library to embedded librarian, why embedded librarianship needed for this hour, and what are the ways librarians are embedded, and skills for the embedded librarianship. Some real-time examples we are going to discuss in this session. In today's knowledge-driven society, the information needs of the users are becoming increasingly complex, and unfortunately, traditional library services often fail to fully meet users' needs. The role of librarians is more crucial when there is an information overload in print as well as on the internet. The need of librarian is must not only for getting books from the library, but to acquire the actual information from vast array of information sources. The emerging model of embedded librarianship offers one approach to tackle the situation by bringing the library and librarian to the user. The embedded librarianship has been a prominent buzzword in library profession for the past 10 years. It appears in everywhere, in many conferences, online discussions, and presentation. That's why we are going to discuss about this new field, embedded librarian field. Okay, what is the meaning of embedded? This word embedded comes from embedded journalist and places a reference librarian right in the midst of where the user is to teach research skills whenever and wherever instruction is needed. This is stated by the Smoker. in the year 2009. Actually, the word embedded journalist retrieved from the Iraq War. The Iraq War gave us the concept of embedded journalist. An embedded journalist is supposed to have better access to a story, same as an embedded librarian provides better access for students to him or herself and to the library sources. The phrase embedded librarians places a librarian right in the midst of where the users is to teach research skills whenever and wherever instruction is needed. In colleges and universities, users are in the classroom or on online classroom. In business, they are in the research lab or office. In hospitals, they are with doctors and nurses. This is the working definitions. This short introduction will answer some basic questions about embedded librarianship in academia. What are some characteristics of an embedded program? Is embedding only achieved through an online classroom? How did embedded librarianship first begin in academic libraries? Instead of sitting in the library, embedded librarians work outside the library in a group of other domain experts. As a co-worker, they understand the information needs of other group members and try to solve these needs immediately. Users in a group also find it convenient and save time and effort in information retrieval. The responsibility of searching for information gets shared with the librarians. This diagram also explains the 4 core criteria of the embedded librarianship. It is defined by David Schumacher. Embedded librarian as one who can identify the need, the source, and the value of information often before the users or colleague think of it and delivers what's needed. To do this, the librarian has to be familiar with the work and understand the domain and the goals. Doing this, the librarian becomes an invaluable member of the team. He listed the variables associated with embedded as location, funding, management, supervision, and participation. Typically, embedded type librarians are assigned and dedicated to a particular practice group, division, or department. One good description is that they are members of teams, groups, and units organizations, indistinguishable in status or value to the group from any other members, except for the fact that they bring a unique awareness of the importance of information and knowledge and skill in applying information and knowledge to improve group performance. Further, we discuss about the what is embedded librarianship. Barbara Dewey describes embedded librarianship as a concept that implies a more comprehensive integration of one group with another to the extent that the group seeking to integrate is experiencing and observing as nearly as possible the daily life of primary group. Embedding requires more direct and purposeful interaction than acting in parallel with another person or another group or activity. Dewey says embedded librarianship as a means through which academic librarians become more integrally involved in strategic campus development and growth. It may be through faculty senate or strategic planning or various committees or campus design involvement. Embedded librarians have to build relationship and engage in multiple interaction with user groups. These interactions give them an intimate knowledge of the group's work and related challenges. They regularly participate in their users' work meetings, taking advantages of the same learning opportunities and meeting with all level of group members to discuss challenges and solutions. Okay, why embedded librarianship is needed for the hour? All the librarians realize that users do not easily recognize information needs or questions, do not get asked, and information is not found. In an embedded library concept, the librarian is there and perceives the information need of the user and the possibility of satisfying it. The librarian does not have to wait in the library or by the phone or the computer. The librarian sees the need and formulates the question, then answers it. The embedded library services model has to do with getting close enough to others in the organization, whether physically by locating the librarian's office in their area, organizationally by transferring supervision from the library manager to the customer group manager, or operationally by forming a strong working relationship to understand their information needs and develop specialized solutions that meet those needs. As the education technology field changes, so must be the role of librarians also. These forces include new and rapidly changing technologies and abundance of digital information in myriad formats, on increased understanding of how students learn. It's evolving research methods and changing practices in how scholars communicate and disseminate the research and creative work. Librarians are embedded because the librarian becomes a member of the customer community rather than a service providing standing apart. Embedded librarians are finding ways to create new services and new value for their libraries by getting out into the user communities that they wish to serve. This changes is both driven and enabled by the increasingly digital net that we will live in. While Google and the internet may be competing with the librarian providing information, the same Google and internet help the librarian to be free to go beyond the walls of the library and share their expertise. These forces include new and rapidly changing technologies and abundance of digital information in myriad formats, on increased understanding how students learn, evolving research methods, and changing practices in how scholars communicate and disseminate their research and creative work. So, the embedded librarians, the concept turns the traditional concept of librarianship upside down. Traditional library differs from embedded librarianship. It's not a library centric, it's a customer centric. It's not an entire population, it is meant for group of people. It's not a generalized service, it's a specific specialist service. Traditional libraries by standards, but embedded libraries is participants model. It's not a service providers, it's a embedded librarianship is a trusted advisors. This is the main difference between the traditional and embedded librarianship. Librarians in academic field finds way. 1 minute. This is the main difference between the traditional librarianship and embedded librarianship. Traditional librarians is a responsive, but embedded librarianship is a anticipatory, and it is team of collaborators. It is a customized service, and it is for ongoing projects. It is not a service provider. It's one of the partnership of the core team. Let us discuss about what ways the librarians are embedded. Librarians in academic libraries find ways of being near the academic departments they serve through office hours, the building of long-term collaborations with the faculty, librarian in residence program, and library sponsored contest. Embedded services into online reference sort make use of Web 2.0, Library 2.0 concepts, communication applications such as social networks such as Twitters and blogs, and embedded librarians and collaborated within online classrooms. Librarians are adept at embedding files online instead of personally delivering classroom lessons. Some common examples of online personalized services include effective tutorials, interactive guides, and links and chat functions. Even library vendors acknowledge a desire to be accessible to students and faculty at their point of need by building ways to insert the library's chat function into their search screens. Librarians across the continent are present in online spaces with help and information for their users. Librarians should be integrated on multiple levels to be most effective. Librarians should play a role in the entire campus community. Increased collaboration is important to maintaining the library's prominence within the institution and is usually welcomed by the greater campus community. Academic institutions are becoming more community focused, and libraries look less like places to store hard to find materials and more like social spaces for multitasking, group work, and expert assistance. Yesterday, the Dr. Ilavalakan sir also stated the same point. Libraries must be the social space for multitasking. The embedded librarians also stress the same point. Embedded librarians are proactive, mobile, ready to leave their comfort zone, and willing to get involved in collaborative teamwork, all of which point to them as providers of knowledge process outsourcing. The role of embedded librarianship in academic settings. This table shows the clear picture of embedded librarianship role in universities and colleges. Embedded librarian services mostly depends on information literacy session in person in their departments, in their academic departments. It may be an English department or it may be a commerce department. Embedded librarian team up with the department and providing the services in their departments, not in the central library. Usually we have in India, we have in every universities we have a department library, but embedded librarianship is one step ahead to user oriented. It's not a department librarian role. It's one of the embedded librarian should be a main member of the core team, core department team. These are the areas to work of embedded librarians, that is library databases and online web evaluations. It helps the users to how to find the right information in internet, how to evaluate the correct information. The embedded librarians help the users to find the right informations, and they assist the users to how to cite the literatures, how to use the citation managers, that is such as Mentally, Jotera kind of softwares, and they may teach how to use the bibliographic databases, that is Web of Science and Scopus database. They demonstrate these bibliographic databases to their users. These are all the information literary sessions the embedded librarians given their users. Next, what is the role of, what is the skills needed for embedded librarianship in the 21st century? For any job vacancies, these are the skills are required for getting the job. So, for embedded librarianship, what are the skills are required? The development of embedded library services largely depend on the interest of the user and the availability of the sufficiently qualified embedded librarians. First, it is necessary to evaluate the readiness of both the library and the organization. The same David Sumakar says not every customer group needs this kind of service, or not every librarian has the skills or the motivation to provide it. So, embedded librarian must possess the following skills, that is engagement, anticipate and identify the needs of the users is the main skill. Then socialization is a key aspect of embedded librarianship, whether it takes place on online or in person. Social bonding has a transformative effect on trust, not just in social situations, but also when a faculty colleague has research or classroom support needs. Then library instruction. He or she must be designed and provide the instruction uniquely tailored to the department needs. The next one is research consultation. Holding office hours, being available through and chart, provide guides and other resources if embedded directly into the virtual classroom, that may be online classroom. The fifth one is collection development skill. He or she should be interact with faculty in subject department to determine what type of materials are necessary for their academic works. Then last one is digital communication. He or she must be provide assistance with new technologies. It may be a social networking platforms or citation managers, or using a bibliographic database, or finding the Hutch index, anything. He or she must be provide the assistance to their users. Okay, what are the pros and cons of embedded librarianship? Pros, it's a better understanding of students and faculty's needs. Cons is it's time consuming process. Then next doubt is, what should embedded librarians entail at an academic institution? Has to be a willingness and mutual understanding between librarian and faculty, and the ways in which librarians would be embedded should be determined based on departmental needs. The third one is, would the management and budgeting of embedded librarians be different from liaison librarians? Because most of the libraries have liaison librarians. Then why should we need embedded librarians? The only difference would be to make sure they have the skills to be embedded, to provide necessary resources to them, and to be more aware of the feedback from the department they are serving. So this is not dealt with any specific budgeting to embedded librarians. These are all the embedded librarians services provided by some of the foreign universities. Here I am showing the real-time examples. That is, the University of Chicago Library provide embedded librarian support to their faculty students where they work. Here this pictures clearly shows the librarians at the hospitals, and librarians they also providing services to specific departments, and they provide specific services to research. So this concept is already emerged in foreign universities. They are moving to liaison librarian to embedded librarians. This University of Chicago, from providing embedded librarian service from hospitals to classrooms, and the legal clinics to business incubator. The University of Chicago librarians are using their expertise to support faculty, students, residents, and entrepreneurs where they work. This is the one sample I listed here. Then next one is the Franklin Pierce University also provided the embedded librarianship service. The users can send the request form for reaching the embedded librarian. The library, finally, the library as a provider of outsourcing services. Embedded librarian provides following. These are the final products of the embedded librarians. A library can offer knowledge process outsourcing in such fields as information gathering, intellectual property research, training and consultancy, publishing, data research and analytics, writing, content development services. Following factors that make an outsourcing relationship successful, such as trust, communication, commitment, honesty, reliability, and fairness. A library can offer knowledge process outsourcing services in such fields as information gathering, intellectual property research, training and consultancy, and content development services. Here I listed the services offered by the library as a outsourcing service, outsourcing agent. Embedded librarian can provide all these things. Finally, I conclude with Embedded librarianship is a relatively new term, but an old concept in academic libraries. Students are entering college without the information literacy skills they need to produce quality work, and faculty are frustrated because students are use Google as their source for scholarly research. But embedded librarians who have experience with collaboration and outreach not only partner with department faculty to teach graduate students the skills they need to locate and use information effectively, but they also provide learning opportunities outside the walls of the classroom. Embedded librarians can serve as a reliable partners for the scientific community. Possible future development of embedded library programs may result in the library serving as a provider of knowledge process outsourcing. We already, in the previous slide, we discussed the same thing. It gives research the opportunity to focus on their main functions and save time. For libraries, knowledge process outsourcing services are a possible source of income. Librarian here needs to work with them as a co-workers and help them in getting information as and when required. This new role has created new positions for librarians, and the same Sumekar is the renowned researcher in this field. He mentioned the name as the embedded librarian's name as strategic program specialist, senior associate, business intelligence, information analyst, senior researcher, chemist, information management analyst, market research specialist, consultant, taxonomy and metadata manager, information and learning program manager, educational outreach specialist, economic intelligence specialist, informationist, information architect, research associate, to name a few. The name indicated itself the role of the LAS professionals are diversified and collaborative and embedded with other professionals. Thank you. If you have any doubts, you can ask questions.
Madam, one question from the participants.
Yes, sir.
What qualities we should develop to become embedded librarian?
We already discussed in the slides, sir. One should equip with best socialization skill and social bonding skill and engagement skill, research consultation skill, and digital communication skill. Here she must provide, he must learn the new technologies
libraries
and assist their users in using technologies. It may be a citation manager or a bibliographic database, or creating an author ID, maybe a ARCID ID, or any kind of research work. He or she must be assist their users.
Madam, Vijay Kannan asked the embedded libraries in Chennai, name please.
Sir, in our India, this concept is not coming now.
Applicable.
We expect in near future we are
Expecting this one.
specific embedded librarians will be appointed in universities and R&D libraries.
Okay.
Here we have only nomenclature of librarian, university librarian, deputy librarians, assistant librarians only. This concept is emerged in foreign university libraries. So it may be come in India in near future, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. And
That's all.
another question from Mr. Gopal. Dr. Sasireka over there.
Madam. Yes.
He wants some examples of embedded libraries.
Yeah, already I showing the two examples. That is the University of Chicago Library providing embedded librarians from clinical library to classrooms. The same one more library. 1 minute. Franklin Pierce University also provided the embedded libraries.
Embedded libraries.
In USA, most of the librarians imported the embedded librarians concept. In worldwide, USA libraries are emerging this embedded librarians concept. So it slowly spread all over the India, all over the world, and also India.
Okay.
So
Any more
already I
questions?
show the two real-time examples. That is University of Chicago and Franklin Pierce University. Yes.
Okay. Any more questions, Janardhan sir?
No, ma'am. That's all. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sasireka. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity. I thank Dr. Chinnasamy sir and Dr. Professor K. Nityanandam sir for giving me this great opportunity, and the organizers and the technical support sir, Dr. Janardhan sir and Dr. Tilagodi madam.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you once again.
Ladies
and gentlemen, I hope you found this morning presentations are very really informative and useful. Thank you for spending time with us today. Nalaki where our resource persons order 3 hours back. We'll meet you again. Before that, thank you all the organizers, the Madras Library Association, Dr. Janardhan sir and Mr. Muttumari and whoever behind this one, and Madurai Kamaraj University in the Periya team. A big thank you one and all. Have a great day. Be home. Stay safe.
Can you introduce again?
Go. In front of you.
Incoming.